News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
And welcome back. We're live from the Water Street Bar and Grill in downtown Toms River. Thursday night football, Bengals-Browns. Okay, there could be a better matchup, but they've got it on here along with hockey and everything else because it's a great place to watch your favorite game if you're in the Toms River area. Dave Ellis last year guided the Freehold Colonials to a 7-3 record, a spot in the state football playoffs, and picking right up where they left off. Freehold currently 6-2, on their way to make it back-to-back playoff appearances. And Coach is good enough to join us here on a Thursday night. Dave, how are you tonight? And thanks so much for a few minutes of your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ed.
Good. It was good to talk to you. Coming off a very, very good win for you last week at Manalapan, 28-13, and the Braves maybe are not the powerhouse they've been the last few years, but no doubt that was a significant win for your team.
You know, Coach Guerrero and his staff, they do a tremendous job, and you know they've been a very good football team for the last few years. You know, and I thought our kids our kids played well. They brought emotion to the night, and we were able to come out with the victory.
Coach, would you say that the team has been under the radar in that A-North race all season? You know, when you talk about Manalapan and you talk about Middletown South, you know, you guys have flown under the radar to the tune of 6-2 so far.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, where we're in the right place right now, where we should be, because you know, Middletown South and Manalapan have been fighting for the division for the last couple of years, and we're kind of the newcomer. You know, we're just trying to get better every week and you know, get to their level.
Well, up at this point, the two losses, a 3-point loss had Howell in week 2, and then a loss to Raritan a couple of weeks later. But you've put together 4 straight wins, and of course, you got an easy one on Saturday. You host Middletown South, just a cakewalk, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
You've obviously watched a lot of film on them getting ready for this. What impresses you the most about that team that you'll play Saturday?
I think the big thing about Middletown South, you know, Coach Anthony does a great job over there, and he's been doing a great job for a long time. You know, first of all, they're a complete team. You know, they have a great offense, defense, and special teams. You know, I reference Middletown South a lot with my kids. You know, I admire how they play hard every play. They hustle on and off the field. You know, they respect the game of football.
Coach, I got to ask you a little bit about the playoffs, because this game really has no effect on the playoffs. You've played your 8 games. You look like you're a solid, you know, maybe 3-4 team there. A couple teams may pass you depending on what happens this weekend. But my question is, you know, this is an A-South bracket. You've got Jackson, you've got Bricktown, and you've got Brick Memorial. How do you, your staff, and the team feel about maybe getting a shot at some of these A-South powers in your Central Jersey Group 4?
Well, you know, I would agree with you. I think that, you know, you have Jackson in there, you have Brick Memorial, all, you know, storied programs of the Shore, you know, guys that have been on top for the last couple of years. You know what? We don't know. We're just striving to get better. You know, right now, that's all we can control. We don't know who we're going to play. We don't know where we're going to be seated. So, you know, I'm just preaching to the kids that, you know, just keep getting better, keep practicing, you know, improving the way we practice, and everything else will take care of itself.
You know, you've played pretty good offensively this year. You played great this year. And, you know, your sophomore, Asante Worthy, a tremendous year, and your quarterback, of course, is Jake Curry. Talk a little bit about those two players.
Yeah, I think Jake and Ashanti feed off each other. You know, Jake really is, you know, Jake is the guy that makes our offense go. You know, he does a great job at the line of scrimmage and making calls. And you know, Ashanti, you know, Jake actually, you know, can spread out the defense with his arm. And, you know, then we can create some running lanes for Ashanti.
Well, Jake's thrown for over 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns, and let's not take away the fact that on defense he's been a monster as well with, I think, 5 interceptions, one of the leaders in the Shore, and Ashante's closing in on 1,000 yards with 13 touchdowns. So those guys have put up big numbers. I know you got a real good wide receiver in Jamel Smith-Rush. Dave, I got to ask you, your first 3 years at Freehold-Borough were losing seasons. Now you're going to have back-to-back winning seasons. Have you feel like you've sort of turned the corner? Have you changed the culture a little bit? Do you get a sense that now you're starting to get a program in place?
Yeah, I mean, I was privileged, back in 2004 to work under Coach Chick and see how he built up the program. And we got in there in 2011. I became the head coach. We just had to establish, our way of doing things. We had a lot of success under Coach Chick, and I feel like now, with last year's seniors, they kind of paved the way, and this year's seniors have carried the torch, and we're starting to, understand what it takes to be a winning program.
Dave, Freehold-Borough is another one of those neighborhood schools. We had Sean Henry from Point Pleasant Borough on earlier, and that's a neighborhood school where the school right in the middle of the neighborhood, you got the houses, that surround the schools and stuff. How have the fans and the crowds and the kids gotten behind you?
Well, we always describe Freehold-Borough as a family, and that goes for fans, friends, players, and it was really nice even at Manalapan last Friday night to see a good amount of people show up to the game, and they want to see us have success, and they support a lot of the sport programs, and the players feed off of that, which is a nice thing to see.
Well, clearly the corner has been turned, back-to-back winning seasons, back-to-back years in the playoffs. Always good to chat with you, Dave. You were good enough to join us down here last year, and we wanted to catch up with you and just wish you all the best the rest of the way. Middletown South on Saturday, and then, of course, the state playoffs, and nothing but the best to you and the Colonials.
Oh, thank you, Ed.
All right. See, it usually works the other way around.
I know.
That's Dave Ellis, the Freehold-Borough head coach.
That's okay, Kev.
So he must have thought
how quickly they forget.
He must have thought
you know
were
why?
me.
Only because I made all the contacts during the week, and I was sending him the emails and text messages.
So he must have thought you were me then when you were talking.
I guess my questions were definitely better.
Well, I was going to say he's probably telling everyone, that
Sarluca guy.
That Ed was brilliant, but the other guy was just dreadful. Had him back.
That's funny.
But that's nice.
Hey, it's a good football team, no matter how you put it.
That Jay Curry's a heck of a player. I'll tell you what. He's one. Again, talk about those quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's another one to the list that you don't talk about him.
Yeah.
You talk about all those leading guys, the Santiagos, the Eddie Hans, he's under the radar, and he's an outstanding.
Hey, we mentioned a little bit when we had the Point Borough guys on about losing to Jackson Liberty last week.
Right.
A lot of credit to Jim Sharples, the Jackson Liberty coach, and his staff. That was a big win for them, and they are in very good position to make the playoffs for the second time in school history. Bob Batter says they will make the playoffs as the number 8 seed if Hopewell Valley beats Northern Burlington.
Which they should.
So,
right. Northern Burlington could possibly jump Jackson Liberty and push them to the 9 spot.
Right.
But Hopewell Valley at 6-2 should beat Northern Burlington. But, hey, you never know.
But that would be a great accomplishment because I'll be
great.
very honest with you. I had very low expectations for Jackson Liberty coming into the season. I think, at 4-4, I believe they are. They've been a pleasant surprise. That was a huge win for them last week, and good for them because you could have both the Lions and Jaguars, both Jackson schools, playoff bound, which would be a nice thing for the community.
Yeah, it sure would. And the reward, a possible matchup with number 1 Brick Memorial.
Yeah, I know. That's tough.
That's
a tough matchup.
But hey,
that's a B South team playing an A South team.
An A South team, yeah. Reward enough to make the playoffs.
And I think you'll agree, outside of the teams that we kind of expect to be there almost every year, the Middletown Souths of the world, in recent years, the Red Bank Catholics, the Manalapans, the Jacksons.
the Memorials.
For a lot of teams, if you asked them to put their goals on a blackboard in the beginning of the year, somewhere in the top 2 or 3, making the state playoffs.
Exactly.
Even though guys like you and I, and maybe me even more so than you, truly believe the playoffs are a horrendously watered down system. There's way too many teams in. It doesn't matter what we think. I mean, like you say to coaches, well, we've got to talk about things. That's our job. So this is part of our job. It's what counts for the kids, and for them and their coaches, getting in the playoffs is a huge, huge deal.
There's not one coach in the Shore that will tell you next week they would rather be playing a consolation game than a playoff game.
Let me ask
nobody's
you this.
Nobody's gonna tell you that.
And having been a coach for as long as you were, do you think winning a state sectional championship, even if you happen to be in a group that is not that strong, is a greater achievement than winning a division title in the Shore Conference?
Probably. I would
really?
Say yes. Yeah, I would say yes.
Yes, because of the word state, I guess.
Yeah, I would say yes.
Because
you get a variety of different schools, and you have to win 3 high-pressured games.
Okay. So it's a tournament.
It's a tournament, yeah. You have to win 3. 1 and you're out. 1 loss and you're out. So I would say there's more prestige in winning a state sectional title, even though there are, 24 of them?
24.
24 state titles we will give out the weekend of December, 5th, 6th.
4th, 5th, 6th,
4th, 5th, 6th, I mean, we'll give out 24, trophies or plaques, whatever they get nowadays. And, hey, another goal is a conference championship.
Oh, absolutely.
That's another goal.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's take a break, Ed. When we come back, we'll kind of catch up with Monmouth University coach Kevin Callahan, stinging a little bit after last week's loss.
Yeah, he's probably going to see some high school games this week.
And we'll talk about them because Monmouth's on the late season bye, and usually for Coach Cal and his staff, that means out and about even more so than usual. But we'll find out. We'll go to the horse's mouth right after this. You're listening to the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.
Water Street Bar and Grill in downtown Toms River is the ultimate sports bar. With 32 HD TVs, Water Street brings you all the action of every football game. Located right on the water, Water Street is the perfect place to enjoy the finest views of the shore. Whether you want to grab a few drinks with friends, catch your favorite game, eat a delicious meal, or enjoy live entertainment every Friday and...
Coach Callahan is on the line.
The place for a good time. Located across from Huddy Park on Robbins Parkway in downtown Toms River. Visit them at bakerswaterstreet.com.
Your home for high school football. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
And welcome back. We're in the fourth quarter. We're late in the fourth quarter here on this week's show, and we've had a good one and enjoyed talking with coaches and players as always. And we always look forward to our kind of wrapping up on a high note with our chat with the always enthusiastic Monmouth University head coach Kevin Callahan. Coach, on the bye this week, off last week's effort, a loss at Kennesaw State, 23-13. Is this a good spot for the bye, or would you rather be getting your Chargers right back on the field?
Well, I think the way the season has unfolded for us, it is a pretty good time for the bye. We're in Week 10, and really this week for us is all about rest and recovery. If you have an earlier season bye or a mid-season bye, a lot of times you're going to go back to basics and try to, hone up on fundamentals or really specialize in areas where you think you need to improve or areas where you may see in the later part of the season. But right now we need some rest and we need some recovery. We gave the guys Monday and Tuesday off. We practiced Wednesday and Thursday, and then we're giving them Friday and Saturday off, and we'll come back in on Sunday. So it's a week for recovery and getting ready for the final 2 games of the season.
And really, their first break since August, right?
It's the first time that we've had off since we started camp back on August 9th.
Wow.
Coach, you played last week's game without your top running back, and for any team, that was a big task to play without Cheney.
Well, it was a challenge not to have LeVon in the game, and he had such a terrific game against Coastal Carolina. And he's had such a terrific year, and not to have him in the, with our offense was certainly something that we had to try and overcome. And we also played on defense without John Sikowski, and that's another guy, one of our top players here from Nalp. And it was a game that, we played a flex or a wishbone option type team, and, you have to do everything exactly right in that game. And one of the things that, you specifically have to do is you have to maximize your possessions, and you're only going to get 8 and possibly 9 possessions when you play a team like that, and you've got to make sure that you're getting points at the end of those drives. And while we started off very well on the first drive going for a score, we didn't sustain that as the game went on, and they were able to get ahead of us.
Yeah, that was one of those games, right? You got off to such a great start. It looked like it was going to be such a good day, and they run off 23 points in a row. They catch you by surprise at all, or was it just a matter of execution?
Well, it wasn't by surprise at all, but, as you know, Kevin and Ed, those option teams, they're very happy with getting 3 yards on a play. And if they get 4 yards, they're really excited. And that's really what they did, is we jumped out to a 7-0 lead. We stop them on the next drive. We go out and we throw an interception at midfield. We stop them on the next drive. We go out and we miss a field goal that we probably should make. And so we came up short on 2 drives where we had stopped them, and then they started grinding away. And they weren't getting big chunks of yardage, but they were getting, the 4s and the 5s and able to keep their drives going. They tied the game. Another drive put them in the lead, and when those teams play from the lead, they're very, very difficult to stop.
We should give a little bit of credit to your junior running back, Zach Welch, who filled in for Cheney and ran for a career-high 112 yards and obviously gave you some production from that running back spot.
It was great to have Zach back. He was hurt back in week 4 at Fordham and hasn't played since. So this was his first time, seeing any action, and we were very happy with what he was able to do. And he provides us with a bigger back, a little more powerful back, a different style than Cheney, and hopefully we'll have both of them back as we go into the next game.
Coach, we got to mention my man Mike Basile. Okay. Pretty outstanding accomplishment this week. Explain that to our listeners, please.
Well, he was named to the watch list for the Defensive Player of the Year in the country. It's a great honor for him, and that just really speaks to his productivity and what he's been able to do on a game-in, game-out basis. And this is just a continuation of the tremendous freshman year he had. And he's certainly, adding to that as he goes through this sophomore year. And, Mike's a little banged up as well. He's in on a lot of plays. He's one of those guys who's always around the ball and has the ability to position himself to make big plays. And, he's experiencing the wear and tear of the season a little bit right now. But he comes to play every day, and he's a terrific player.
Coach, Kevin and I were talking off the air, and I think the sports information, segment of your program, and Greg Viscomi especially, he gets the names out to the people that have to get these names. You have quite a few players that win weekly honors. Mike with this outstanding honor. They deserve some credit, don't they?
They deserve a lot of credit, and Greg does a terrific job, and not only with getting the information out for our program and promoting our players, but as you guys know, he's done an outstanding job with the Monmouth Digital Network and the ESPN3 publications, the productions that we do each and every game for football and many other sports for that matter. But he's an outstanding asset to our program, and he's a Brick Memorial guy.
Yeah.
That's it. That's enough. That's enough with Viscomi. All right, I've had enough. All right, so you did say this is a good time. Some of those bumps and bruises may be healed, and you have 2 games left in your regular season, and clearly 2 very winnable games. A week from Saturday, your final home game against Presbyterian, who struggled a bit this year at 1-7, and then you finish up at Gardner-Webb on 3-5. How big would it be for you to be able to win back-to-back games to close the season to carry into your off-season program?
Kevin, it would be huge. I mean, to win these last two games and finish with a 3-3 conference record in our second year, I think would be exactly what we need at this point and exactly where we should be. And it's not going to come without its challenges. Both Gardner-Webb and Presbyterian, although they don't have impressive records in terms of wins and losses, are two of the top defenses, or in the group of top defenses in our conference. They've struggled a bit on offense. Both teams have. But, they play outstanding defense, and they're in every single game. And, we're going to be challenged this week to make sure that we take advantage of our opportunities on offense, and we continue to play defense the way we have the last 3 weeks.
Coach, we all know that the Shore Conference plays outstanding football, maybe the best football in the state, if you take out those big-time parochial schools up north. So a bye week allows you and your staff to get out and see some local games. Will you do that this week?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we've taken this entire week and devoted it to recruiting. Our entire coaching staff was out on Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday and today, after we finished practice, because we practice in the mornings, as soon as we finished practice, they were all out on the road seeing practices and visiting high schools. They'll all be out again tomorrow and on Saturday, specifically in the Shore, but throughout the state in general. That we're trying to get as many places as we can and be as visible as we possibly can. There's a lot of great players in the Shore that we're have our eye on and have had extensive conversations with, and we're hoping we can make some of those come to a fruition and get those guys to attend Monmouth. But it's something we got to work on every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kevin, recruiting really is an everyday job. Maybe the average person doesn't see it, but clearly you and your staff are aware and talking about it on a regular basis. Where are we in terms of critical times of recruiting year, the cycle itself, right about now?
Well, this is the critical time.
Okay.
2 minutes.
The cycle starts as soon as you sign the previous class. So it started back in February, and April and May is a very big time, and then the June and July during the summer camp season is very big as well. And we get a number of guys to come to our camps, and our coaches attend most all the camps in the Northeast. We've had several players already visit campus, both unofficially and officially. And then, now is when the time is when players, if they haven't made a decision, are getting ready to make those decisions and decide what they're going to do and where their future is going to have them. So this is a very, very important time, and you've got to be in front of these guys, these young men and their families, every single day. And it used to be that you would play your football season, then you have a little break, and then it would be a recruiting season, where nowadays you recruit
1 minute.
65 days a year, and you try to find a little time to play some games in there.
All right, well, listen, you got a little time off this weekend, so we don't want to take any more of it. We'll look forward to chatting with you next Thursday. We'll get more on the Presbyterian game the following Saturday. As always, Coach, thanks for your time. Have a great football weekend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there goes Monmouth University coach Kevin Callahan. That is, the recruiting is it's unbelievable.
He probably would rather be playing a game. You said you got some free time this weekend. Wrong. He's got no free time. He'll see.
Hey,
and I was surprised that they could go to practices. I guess obviously, right?
He might have the honey-do list this weekend too.
Exactly.
Hey, you haven't been home on you haven't been home on a weekend. Let's go.
We need the leaves raked.
I want to thank our guest tonight, especially Sean Hughes.
Call Viscomi. Let him rake the leaves.
Sean Henry and Noah Husak from Point Borough, Howell coach Corey, Freehold Township coach Corey Davies, Freudian slip there, and Freehold Borough coach Dave Ellis, and of course Bob Batterson and Kevin Callahan. Tom Tremblay is always here making things work, and Zach Collins back at the studios. Don't forget Saturday, Point Borough and Lakewood will broadcast it right here. You've been listening to the Thursday Night Football Show on the Shore Sports Network.